Hey fight fans, are you ready to elevate the fight night experience? Because with my partners at DraftKings, you can elevate your excitement to the next level by getting a little skin in the game. Right now, get a no sweat bet up to $1,500 with a $5 deposit from new customers. That's right, you will get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet if your first pick doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings app right now. When you sign up, use my promo code Sonnen. At DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's right. New customers that deposit just $5 get a no sweat bet up to $1,500. If that first bet doesn't hit, no sweat. You will get the original amount back in a bonus bet. Stay in on the action and check out DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code SONNEN and deposit just $5 to get a no sweat bet up to $1,500. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm in New York. I just did Gutfield, and I'm bragging. I hope that doesn't sound, but that's a big media opportunity, right? For our sport of MMA, the biggest thing we had at the time I got it was Jim Rome, and at that time there had only been one other person to ever get Jim Rome, and it was Brock Lesnar. He was given 2 minutes and 41 seconds, and I know that because the PR person, Jen Wink with the UFC, who was bringing me up, was boning me up. She's like, getting me ready. She's like, okay, this is the max we've ever gotten. And that was out of Brock, who was our biggest star. So he's going to bring you in. He's going to kick you off. Just know that. But, you know, we're happy to be here. She prepped me. I've never had that happen before or since. And I told Rome, he played an audio of me. And I said, nah, it's not me. And he's like, what? So he plays it again. I said, Jim, that guy sounds like he's got a Mexican accent. And I moved right on. Well, Rome, wait a minute, you're telling me this? And all of a sudden I get 7 minutes. So I beat Brock's time by 3 times. So I only tell you that story that when I'm bragging to you that I'm doing Gutfield, like, that's a big deal. And what a difference a day makes. And Greg's always been so helpful to the sport. Watches himself, things like this. Got to reconnect with Sage Steele. If you guys know any of our past and the hair, and I mean, it came up and it was hilarious. And she insisted that we took pictures, like me feeling her hair and send it out on social media. It's just fun. It was just fun. I just had a good time, and I don't always have a good time, right? Sometimes it feels like work, and then tomorrow, get up, go over to Andrew Schultz, do Flagrant, which is a big hit. The number one thing that I've ever felt it gets back to me. I do it and can feel I do it is Rogan. And there's not, I mean, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, the power of Rogan. I wore a t-shirt on Rogan one time. This is years ago. He's so much bigger now. This is way back when he was like still coming up. And it was just a t-shirt that my wife had put in the bag. I just put the t-shirt on and went over there. It was Queensberry bad guy shirt. I never mentioned it. I never said a word. Forgot that I was wearing it. The whole time that I'm doing Rogan, my phone is vibrating. I can't make it stop. Well, I was selling those t-shirts on an internet site. I never mentioned it. I never mentioned a word. So just having the shirt on, enough people saw, that enough people got interested, that enough people went to the internet, that enough people found it, that enough people went to the site, that they were buying it while I was sitting there doing his show live. And all the millions of people that watch Rogan, by the way, they don't watch it live. That's a very small group in comparison to his 24-hour number. I bring that whole story up to tell you the next biggest thing that I've ever felt is Andrew Schultz's podcast, Flagrant. Didn't know he was so big. Didn't know that you guys liked him so much. And gonna go back and do that tomorrow. Go meet with Daniel. Do Bad Guy and the Other Guy. Oh no, they renamed it. What do they call? Oh, good. They call it Good Guy, Bad Guy now. And then do the fights. Do the fights this weekend. So a fun week, but I take the time to share that with you. Share that I'm enjoying myself a little bit, getting some training in on the road, Gonna get some rounds in with Anthony Smith. I got a scoop on Anthony Smith, by the way. I can't tell you. But there's scoop on Anthony Smith, and get some rounds in with him as I prepare for my boxing match with Anderson. And that is a very interesting thing in my life. And whether that interests you or not, I'm not going to attempt to sell you or draw you towards that. In fact, it's not on pay-per-view, and there's not any tickets. So when I tell you I'm not going to attempt to sell you, right? Like a lot of guys will tell you, and that's the lead-in to the attempted sale. There's nothing like this. This is just a personal matter. And where do you go with that? What are your emotions with that? What would you be if you were in my shoes? What do you think mine are? And there's a respect is a weird word. Respect is a weird word because respect is a kind word. Respect is a word like discipline. And it's very common with the martial arts, of which Anderson really embraces, much more so than I did, just for example. But unlike some of the other words with martial arts, discipline is not all about positivity, like confidence, like self-control, like goal setting. Like a lot of the words and the buzzwords that you hear around the sport that maybe would entice a parent to bring their child into martial arts in the first place. You also heard respect thrown right in that same category. And it really gets dismissed as a very nice word. And I think there's a truth to that. I think there's an importance to respect. But the other side of it is what a dangerous man will do to make sure that he has respect. That's the part where it's not so nice. And that's the part where things get very tough, where it's an interesting word to use. And regardless of Anderson and I's past, there is for sure a camaraderie that comes with the sport. There would be very seldom other reason to do this or any other sport if that natural built camaraderie didn't exist. It has to. And it's human nature. You would have to be a sociopath to not feel that on some degree. But to have a grudge and to act as though you let it go just because you put a smile on, because that's what the environment calls for, that's a whole nother conversation. And Anderson is doing his last fight. He's chose to do his form of combat in boxing. And Anderson was a lot like Francis Ngannou in that regard. And Francis, even when he was the UFC champion, when he was the mixed fighting champion of the unified rules, wanted to box. Anderson was very much the same way, man. He was setting records. And he wasn't calling anybody out other than Roy Jones Jr. And he was very serious about it. He really wanted to box. So anyway, Anderson's going to do his last competition. He's going to do it in Brazil. He's going to do it in front of his people, his crowd, his family. He's going to do it in boxing, and he's chosen to do it with me. And that there is a respect to that. There's a part of that I very much appreciate. But there's two sides to that. Like, I accepted graciously. This was quiet. You guys didn't see this. I accepted graciously. And was I a special opponent with Anderson? He was for me. My highlights and my high points in the sport, whether got my heart broken or not, my highest points in the sport involve him. One way or another. And that could be from weigh-ins to press conferences to matches itself. To live gates, to t-shirts, to dollars earned from the organization of the participation pay-per-view. It all ties to him. But I don't know that that's true for him. I've never known if that was true for him. I mean, I've seen plenty of other guys that he's main evented. He's sold out arenas, done press conference and weigh-ins with. So I've never known where I stack on that. Like on one hand, is that why I am invited? Is that why I was asked? Am I a special opponent that his story ends with? Or has he discounted me? And is there a situation where if I get to have a hand in picking the opponent and I'm doing it at home and I want to go out the right way, give me that guy. I got his number. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where if you're in my shoes, I'm not a counterpuncher. I'll go first. I will start the fight. I'll pick the fight for sure. But this is a very interesting spot. Is this about respect? Was I the special opponent? I'm still going to try to win. He's still going to try to win. This is my last opportunity to defeat him. The motivation will not change, but the approach would be very different if it was the other side of the curtain, which is I was asked to do the fight because he thinks from a competitive standpoint, it's a light job.